Echo and HarperAudio present The Fragile Earth, writing from The New Yorker on climate change. Edited by David Remnick and Henry Finder. Read by Kaleo Griffith, Gabra Zackman, and Kat Gould. All pieces in this collection were originally published in The New Yorker. The publication date is given at the beginning of each piece. Foreword. David Remnick. In the 1980s, a writer named Bill McKibben was regarded around the New Yorker office as something of a prodigy. The pieces in the Talk of the Town section in those days were unsigned, but everyone at 25 West 43rd Street knew that McKibben was often writing half of them, sometimes more. Still in his 20s, he went wherever William Shawn, the editor of the magazine, sent him. To trade shows, ball games, political rallies, the piers, and in no time at all, he returned to the office and bashed out something charming or funny or sharp. Some writers in that era did not know what to make of him. McKibben had the laconic bearing of an Episcopal novitiate, but worked with the metabolism of a hummingbird. And as addicted as he had become to turning out his metropolitan dispatches on a snug weekly deadline, he was also eager to write something longer, more deeply reasoned, more far-flung. He had a particular passion for environmental matters, and was a devoted reader of Henry David Thoreau and John Burroughs, Wendell Berry, and Rachel Carson. Perhaps he'd do something in that mode. After giving the matter considerable thought, he approached Shawn with a proposal. "Can I write about my apartment?" he asked. What McKibben had in mind was rather high concept. He lived in a nothing special apartment at Bleecker Street and Broadway. What would he learn, he wondered, if he followed every pipe and wire and chute that connected his apartment to the greater world to see where it all led? Where exactly did his water and electricity come from? Where did all his coffee grounds and apple cores go? With a notebook and a credit card, McKibben flew off to Brazil to see where Con Edison was getting its oil. He visited the La Grande hydroelectric dams in subarctic Quebec. Water flowed from there into the James Bay, into the Hudson Bay, and eventually into Bill McKibben's faucet. He saw uranium being extracted at the Hack Canyon mine in Arizona, and eventually brought to the Indian Point nuclear power plant, the better to provide electricity for the lights and air conditioners at Bleecker and Broadway. McKibben's essay on the exploitation of nature and its resources, titled Apartment, ran in the March 17, 1986 issue of the magazine. An important outcome of that piece for its author was that it suggested further work. Apartment had the effect of reminding me, or maybe teaching me for the first time, that the world was physical, McKibben tells me. Somehow I became attuned to the idea that the world and human arrangements were more vulnerable than I had ever thought. I could see what these lifelines looked like. And at that moment, I also started reading the emerging literature of climate science. One voice in particular stood out. In June 1988, James Hansen, a scientist best known in his early career for the study of Venus and its atmospheric conditions, came before a Senate committee and testified that the Earth was now warmer than it had ever been in recorded history, and that the chief cause was our heedless consumption of fossil fuels. This warming, he said, was intensifying all the time and would soon lead to rising sea levels and extreme weather conditions, powerful hurricanes, ruinous droughts, and fires and floods. It would unavoidably threaten natural systems and the social order. McKibben was paying attention. The next year, he published a long, scrupulously reported, yet meditative piece of writing on
Sample complete. Ready to continue?